Dímelo, mi gente. What's up? And welcome back to another live interview here on Gonzalez Media TV on Millions. As always, I'm your host, Jose G. Happy Monday to everyone. Make sure you give me that follow on all social media platforms at Jose G Official and subscribe to the channel over on YouTube, Gonzalez Media TV. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm super excited for my next guest. She is a former UFC fighter and she is here to have a conversation with me today on a Monday. I don't know why, but hey, we got scheduled together and I'm super happy to have her. We have the one and only Diana, the warrior princess Belbita, joining us today for a live interview. How are you, Diana? Happy Monday.
I'm good. I'm good. How are you? Thank you
I
for the
am
introduction. That
fantastic.
was cool.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Diana, thank you so much for hanging out with us this afternoon. Before we get started with our conversation, where can the viewers find you on social media so they can follow everything you're doing?
Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. Just search Diana Belbita and you are going to find me there.
Let's go. Well, Diana, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. So, yeah, I mean, we were just talking a little bit before we went live here. You're no longer with the UFC. You've had some injuries that have kept you out. But before we kind of get into the whole history of what happened over there, how you been? What's going on with you lately? How are you feeling?
Well, I'm good. I feel like my life just changed so much in the last few months. So I'm really happy to have this interview with you because I feel like I own I owe people to talk a little bit about my life because I kind of I don't know, just flip the script from the fighter that stays in a gym 24 hours. I ended up in, like, I don't know, posting pictures with me all dressed up nice and not talking about fighting that much anymore. So I feel like I have to tell my story because it's, first of all, it's a motivational one, going through injuries and keep going in life, and because my life just changed and I want people to know the real me, the way I am right now, not just the way I was. I'm not living in the past, so let's leave the past behind and let's talk about me right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, when people look at your career, you've been doing this since you were 12. I mean, you started with judo, your kempo and kickboxing and MMA. So you've had a long career in martial arts. And now that you're not going to be doing that anymore, what are you focusing on right now? What do you want to tell the people what you're up to and what you're doing?
Well, first of all, as you said, I have been doing this my whole life. I have been a fighter since I was a kid, and then I realized that I can't really fight anymore. And for a short period of time, I was lost because I never thought this is gonna be an option. I never wanted to believe that one day is just gonna happen that I cannot fight anymore and I will have to do something else with my life. Like, yeah, I finished school, I finished college, I whatever, but it's not the same, when you cannot put the gloves on and just go and fight. It's a little bit
Mm.
different. So it's funny because right now I'm working for Sportsnet as a on-air analyst. I'm still at the beginning, so I'm still trying to figure out how this works. I'm doing pretty good so far. And what's the funniest part in this is that 5 years ago, I was not speaking English at all. And now I'm doing
Wow.
the interviews in English. I'm talking about fights in English. So, yes, of course, I'm really proud of myself. But at the same time, I'm so hard on myself because, like, I do an interview and then when I rewatch it I'm like, why the hell I said that? That doesn't really make sense. Or that was not the right time there. Or so it took me a little bit at the beginning to get over this. First of all, I have a very strong accent, so I'm trying to help people to understand me, and I hope they understand that I'm doing my best. I'm actually really trying to explain as much as I can.
That's awesome, though. But that just kind of shows how much you've evolved as a person over the last 5 years. Now, I mean, if you wouldn't have told me that you just started dominating the language, I would have never guessed because you speak it very well. I can understand you. And you know what? People nowadays don't even care if you have an accent. And if you have an accent, they actually love that you have an accent. I mean, if you look at some of the more famous people around the world, like Gal Gadot, great actress from Israeli, but she has a pretty thick, dominant, a thick accent, and people love her. So don't let that bring you down, girl.
Well, I'll definitely not let it. And the feedback from people that were watching the interviews was amazing, and it really pumped me up and made me really want to do this in the future. Like, of course, now I'm still at the beginning, I'm still, like, not doing a lot of work, but I really want to, I don't know, maybe be a full-time analyst or reporter or maybe commentator, or who knows. Like, I kind of want to stay in the media side now, because you know what, I always, all those 6 years that I fought in UFC, I wanted to be able to go to be there at the UFC for the fight week and not having to cut weight, because the weight cut was always killing my vibe. I always felt so dizzy, so hungry, dehydrated, not in a good mood. But now I'm there and I enjoy the time. I see the fighters, I can talk with them, and I'm like, oh, poor guys, they probably feel so bad.
I totally understand your path that you're going through right now. Back in the early 2010s, I trained as a pro wrestler, and I had to quit the sport because I got injured and I couldn't continue anymore. So I had to find a different route to kind of stay in pro wrestling, and doing analyst work or announcing or interviews was kind of like my way in, and I'm very grateful that I kind of stuck with it. So I think that that's going to be a perfect fit for you. I think you being a fight analyst, an interviewer, I think you match the vibe. I think you got the presentation in front of you.
Thank you so much. I'm really working hard and I'm trying my best. And I really believe that I'm gonna, be at the top, not just as a fighter, how I was as a fighter, but now as a media person. So I'm definitely working hard to get there.
That's amazing. That's great that you're getting on the media side of things. But let's back up a little bit. Let's talk about your journey in martial arts and MMA, and just kind of going through the whole journey from the UFC to now. So you started at 12, like I mentioned before. You started with judo, you had some kickboxing, some kenpo. What got you into the martial arts? Were your parents martial artists to get you started at such a young age?
I feel like everything in my life happened so quick, and I'm gonna tell you a few stories, and we are gonna start with the beginning. So, I started judo because there was a gym in the city that I was going to school. I was always passing every single day. I was passing a building that had a nice painting outside. And me, curious at 12 years old, not knowing anything about fighting, nobody in my family is a professional athlete, fighter, or anything else, or anything like that. And me being curious, I'm like, I need to go to see what's up inside. So I start training judo. Then there is a little bit of a story. It doesn't matter anymore because now I'm a married woman. I'm 29 years old, so it doesn't matter. But I'm still gonna tell you the story. So I stepped for the first time in that gym, a judo gym, and there was this guy that was one of the best guys in the gym. So I'm like, well, one day I'm gonna end up training with this guy because I don't know if I just admired the guy or actually liked him. Don't forget, I was
Mm.
12 years old, so I was still a kid. I didn't really know much about liking a guy at that time. But anyway, that's what kept me in the gym after the first day. Then I moved to a kickboxing gym in a different city. When I start taking care of myself, I just started high school, so I was like out of my parents' umbrella. And I was fighting a lot in kickboxing, Muay Thai, and all those styles. Then there was an MMA event in the city that I was at that time, and I was asked to compete, but I really thought it's a kickboxing fight in an opening, like on the undercard of an MMA event. Until the day of the fight, on the night of the fight, actually, I was warming up, and they got me the gloves, and I saw the gloves without the fingers, the fingers
Uh-huh.
open.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, oh, no, 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 those are not the gloves that I'm gonna fight. And they look at me like I was crazy, and I was like, no, those are the gloves that you are gonna fight. Then I start going on Google and trying to search the MMA rules, like literally an hour before I fought. First of all, I was
Wow.
17, so I thought I'm 17 in Romania. You are not allowed to fight MMA, pro MMA. I never had an amateur MMA fight. So I
Wow.
just jumped in and pro MMA thinking it's a kickboxing fight, being 17 years old, now knowing what I'm doing. But I won that fight, and I won that fight quick. I don't know if I was. First of all, I was scared because I walk out, I got into the cage, and the ref is like, are you ready? Are you ready? And I'm just there like, maybe if I say no, he's gonna just let me wait or something. But anyway, I won that fight in like a minute and 22 seconds, and after that, that feeling,
Wow.
it meant a lot. So I'm like, I still want to do this from now on. So here I am.
That's amazing. Now you started. You're from Romania, am I right, Diana?
Yes,
So you
yes,
started
yeah.
in Romania, then you came all the way over here on this side over to Canada. What was that transition like for you? Very two different countries, very two different cultures and world. How did you adapt in the beginning?
When I told you that everything just happened quick, trust me, I didn't lie. So I started fighting professional MMA when I was 17. I had some fights. Then I went on a TV show, survival type show. Jorge Masvidal was in the same on the same show, just a different country. It's called Exathlon. It's survival type show anyway. I was there and start getting a lot of followers. Not really being interested to fight anymore because I start being on the media side. I always felt like I had that attraction towards the media side. Then I got out of that show 5 months later. I had a fight for the Romanian belt, so I trained hard. I won the belt. Then I had another fight. Then I went to a different show, TV show, something similar with Big Brother. I stayed there for 3 months, and while I was there, I got the call from UFC. Actually, I didn't got the call.
Oh,
I just got the contract. My manager at that time got the call, and just not forget, I was not speaking a word in English at that time. So I look at that contract and I see the weight was 135. Let's not forget that most of my career in UFC I fought at 115. I saw that contract and I'm like, I can't even sign this contract. It's not my weight class. I don't know what it says, but what I'm gonna do because I had no option to talk with nobody because you are in those shows without the phone, without anything else. So I'm like, well, it is what it is. So I signed it. I signed the contract. Then few weeks later, I got out of the show. The show ended, whatever. So I'm like, what I'm gonna do with my life now? Because I cannot stay in Romania. I knew that the level of MMA in Romania is too low for a fighter to not make it to UFC, but to stay in UFC. And I didn't want to just be there, lose two fights, and then go back and do absolutely nothing. Because we had another Romanian girl that went to UFC, lost two fights, and then that's it. So I was kind of scared to not happen the same thing to me. So I'm like, what am I gonna do? So then the coach, my Canadian coach or whatever, my coach from Canada, it's also Romanian, but he have been in Canada for the last 25 years. I saw him twice. One time he helped me with the weight cut, and the second time he was the cutman of one of my opponents. So we talked a little bit at that time. So then when my manager, actually, he was my friend at that time, and he told me like, you should talk with this guy, maybe he's gonna help you. So he's like, yeah, for sure, buy your plane ticket and come here to Canada. So I called my mom and I'm like, okay, I'm moving. And I moved a lot from a city to a different city in Romania, but Romania it's also very small, like in 5 hours you drive from a side to the other one. My mom is like, oh, cool, where are you gonna move now, what city? And I'm like, no, I'm moving to Canada. And my mom is like, do you realize that Canada it's over the ocean actually? I'm like, yeah, I realized that. And I had a hard time in the airport because I was not speaking English. So I had to call my coach from Canada and try to explain those people. He also wrote a letter for me to give them at the border so they understand what I'm doing and where I'm
oh
going.
my God.
Then I got in Canada thinking that, I'm going to have to pay rent. I had some money saved from the shows. That was my luck. And I really thought for the first 2 weeks I didn't even unpack my suitcase because I thought I have to find a place to rent a place to live somewhere. But my coach is like, no, 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 you are gonna live here. You are my Romanian. You are gonna live in my house. And I lived in my coach's house for the all 6 years that I lived in Canada. I mean, at
Wow.
first I was keep going back and forth, like visiting, going back to Romania. When I had a fight booked, I went back to Canada. But for the last 4 years, I just literally stayed in Canada like 99% of the time. So I was really lucky having my coach taking care of me like I was his daughter. And I don't know, brave to take those big decisions in such a
You
short time. Like
yeah.
it took me a week to pack the stuff, pack all my stuff and just leave the country and not go back for a really long time.
Where do you get that bravery and that sense of adventure from? Because I've talked to hundreds of different fighters, and I can count in one hand how many fighters have done what you've done: pack up and leave at a young age and just go. Where do you get that
Well,
from?
Well, I think first time I left my parents' house when I was 14 or 15,
Wow.
and I was pretty much on my own. But I was born in a small village in Romania. Like I knew I have no future there. Just, marry some guy, have 5, 6 kids, buy some cows and stuff like that. So I'm not joking because that's how I grew up. I grew up with like milking cows. Even now when I tell my husband, I'm like, oh, he's like, oh, you don't know about chickens. And I'm like, kid, chill. You don't
Oh,
know
I
about
know about
chickens.
chickens.
Yeah. So I was somehow scared to not have to go back and live that life because I was literally working the land, growing corn and everything else, and tomatoes and cucumbers and whatever, since I was 6 7 years old. Like I was literally working the land, and I didn't want that life. So I think I was so scared that I'm gonna be stuck there, that I didn't
Mm.
care to take risks. And let's not forget that at the same time, I'm not a person that travels a lot. Like I don't really care about traveling. I don't. So I was probably just scared that I'm gonna have to be stuck in that village. So I just madly, my dog is barking, puppy.
My dog was just barking right now too, so don't even don't even worry
He
about it.
heard him. Yeah, I just adopted my dog
Oh, what
on
kind of
June
dog did you
20th.
adopt?
It's a pit bull.
Oh, I got a pit bull. My pit bull is about 10 years old. She's going on 11.
Yeah, I just adopted mine, and they were saying he's around a year old. I really think he was around 8 months, because he got bigger, he grew a little bit. But he is such a sweet puppy. I always loved all the
Aw,
animals, but this guy is just, he really makes my day a lot better, my life a lot better. Like I can't wait to
they really do.
come home, because I miss him, and he's so sweet, and he sleeps with me. Oh, he's so cute.
What color is he?
He's a red nose. He's a
Oh,
red brown red
oh my
puppy.
god. That melts my heart right there. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
he was thrown from a moving car or something, and that's how he ended
What?
up in a shelter.
I don't
I
understand how
just
people do that.
I just think he was at a breeder in a litter with other dogs, and
Mm,
probably they were not selling him because he was shorter than normal dogs, and they were just didn't care and threw him away. But at the end of the day, I'm happy I have him. He's so happy, and I love to see him enjoying the life I give him.
that's a beautiful thing. I love dogs, and if you have a pit bull, I love you more. I do. It just really does. But going back to your career in the UFC, I noticed that because I always like to do a little bit of research on my fighters before we talk. But I noticed that you fought in a couple different weight classes. You mentioned at the early in the conversation the you hated cutting weight. So talk to me about fighting in those different weight classes. What was that like, and why was cutting weight such a ordeal for you?
So it's a little bit weird, but I'm pretty sure every fighter can relate to this. So I used to fight at 125 pounds, and I had my first two UFC fights at 125. But in UFC, fighters cut a lot of weight, so I was a lot smaller than my opponent. So my coach told me that I have to choose, like, go lower on the weight class, or I'm not gonna really have many chances to win a fight in UFC. So then I dropped to 115, and it was really hard for me to make 115, and I really think that's what damaged my body a lot, because
Mm,
I had to run around 14 16 miles every single day just to keep my weight down. I was eating around 400 calories a day, like literally a small piece of chicken
mm,
and some vegetables, and it was a lot of damage on my body. So when I fought Molly McCann for the second time, and I was getting asked on a media day, about, oh, are you worried that if she's gonna make the weight, if she's gonna make 115? I'm like, the only person I'm worried about making weight, it's me, because I'm struggling. So it's always a struggle to make the weight. I had to be on this diet with like 400 calories every day, and 16 miles run, for like 3 months, and then still have to cut like 7 8 pounds in the last night. But I was getting so skinny that was really hard for me to cut in the last night. I'm also 5'7", which is pretty tall for strawweight, but I'm not genetically a big person. Like I can't, no matter how much I lift weights, I can't really gain muscle. So I decided to cut down. That's why my last fight in UFC was at 125. I knew I'm gonna be the smaller girl, but I knew it's no chance for me to make 115 anymore.
Did you ever go into fight night after those weight cuts feeling 100%, or did you still feel kind of weak from the weight cut on fight night?
So first of all, that night when I cut the weight, like the night before Friday morning, I couldn't sleep at all because I was cutting the whole night. So I was really tired the next 2 days. And every time when I fought at 115, when was the fight night, I didn't want to be there. I just want to go and sleep because I was so tired, so drained. I was not myself, and I was getting so fragile. Like my ligaments and my bones were just snapping very quick, like even in training. So I was dealing with a lot of injuries just because of that. Because when you eat 400 calories a day, you can imagine. I didn't get the right vitamins and nutrients that my body needed, especially running so much and still training at the same time. So that had a really hard impact on my body, and I really think that's one of the reasons that I had to retire from MMA so early.
Yeah, and you mentioned that to me earlier before we went live, that the main injury that kind of now has kept you out of the sport is a knee injury. So tell me a little bit about that injury. And in your mind, do you think that all that training that you had to do for the weight cuts attributed to this overall career ending injury?
Of course, that's definitely the main reason my knee is injured right now. Because running so much every day without eating properly, the body gets the damage and never heals. And I have been dealing with knee injuries all the time since I start cutting, especially since I start cutting to 115. So I understand, like I felt this injury for the first time before my last fight. Was not too bad until after the fight when my knee just blew and just stayed like swollen, but really swollen, like triple the size for weeks. And I checked it. It's a hole in a cartilage, a hole that's not gonna heal. But I really think it's because of so much running. My knee was just working and grinding, and that hole on the weight bearing point just got bigger and bigger, and it's not gonna heal anyway. Like I'm gonna need to have to take a knee cartilage from a dead person or something. And I'm
Mm.
Romanian, I live with, I believe in witches, ghosts and everything, so I don't want nobody to hunt me, and I can't do that. So
I love
yeah,
it.
so
I
I really,
love it.
yeah,
That's
well, we are all
crazy, man.
Romanian, we all believe in this. Yeah,
Hey,
all Romanians believe in
that's
that.
pretty common over there, right? Just kind of having those supernatural beliefs, superstitious beliefs.
Well, I'm from Dracula's country. We have
Hey,
first of all, we have a witch in every family. When a witch dies, we just wait to see who is the next one. So it's cool. It's, I don't know if it's actually real or not, but it's cool. Like it's interesting.
now I've read somewhere that you like to do things on certain anniversary dates, like fights or things like that. Does that go back to your superstitious stuff that you did in Romania?
Everything goes back to my superstitions. I cannot even tell you how many rituals I have before a fight. Like
Oh,
first of all,
please tell me. I want to hear one.
like walk with the right foot first in any room that I go. I have to walk with the first. So you can imagine how I look when I just pass the hallway and go somewhere else and just go with the right first. And another thing is like I believe in hair energy. That's why I don't really cut my hair. And I learned to braid my own hair just because I didn't want some people, like somebody else, the hair braider, to braid bad energy in my hair. So for all my fights, I have been braiding my own hair.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
So
insane. And
yeah,
did you
and
get that from your parents, or it's just that's just how it is in Romania?
well, it's just like it's just I don't even know if I get this from my parents. I mean, my parents never told me do this or do that in this situation. I feel like I just grew up with this, and it's
Mhm.
just the culture. I'm pretty sure all Romanians can tell you the same thing, that they believe in all those small curses. Yeah.
So, Deanna, when you look back at your UFC career, your martial arts career, what's been the proudest moment of your career now that you're pivoting into a whole different area of the sport?
First of all, I am the first Romanian woman that got a win in UFC. And that's history. And I really wanted that. I really wanted to have that in my resume and be able to say I made history for my country. And there are so many girls, young girls, that that started fighting because of me and because of those wins and because the way I carried myself. Because I don't know if you notice or if you ever pay attention to those, but I'm always careful how I talk, and I'm always careful how I dress to not be too naked, because I want those parents to be able to tell their girls, look, if you want to be like that girl, you can be like her. That's fine. So that's why when people ask me, oh, you should just get an OnlyFans, I'm like, no, I can't, because I feel like I will let down all those parents and all those girls
That's
that
good
are
though.
trying to be like me. So I feel like this is definitely my first win in UFC is my proudest moment, because that meant history for me.
I mean, it's also a huge responsibility because just like you said, you're representing Romania and you have little girls over there who are looking up to someone like yourself that want to do exactly like what you do. And that is a huge responsibility. So, you know what? I'm super happy that you did not open up an OnlyFans because everybody seems to be open up an OnlyFans. But you know what? You didn't have to do that. You got support from your country.
And I know I will always find my way in life. I will always find a way to make money, even if that means to get just a normal job, like being, I don't know, working at some McDonald's or something. Like, I'm cool with that, better than making an OnlyFans account, just because first of all, I will not even dare to go back to my mom's house and tell her that I open an OnlyFans account. Because with all my training and all, the big fighter and stuff that I think I am, she will definitely beat me up. Trust me. I cannot. I don't even want to think to look at my mom and say like, oh yeah, here are some naked pictures of me. You want to see them? I can't. I just
She'll throw
can't.
the
So
chancleta at you. She'll throw the flip flop at you. Like, hey, what do you think, Mija? What are you doing?
my mom, it's funny because she's like, I never threw something at you. Just because she missed doesn't mean she didn't throw. Like, all the flip flops, all the plates and everything. So that's why I start fighting, probably because all the hand movement and everything, I have it from that. Like, I'm Romanian. I'm from Eastern Europe. We grew up getting beat up and was fine. Like, we didn't say that we are abused. That we call that education.
I've always said there's something in the water with the fighters from Eastern Europe because you guys are built tough.
We get beat up since we were 5 years old
Probably straight out of birth.
by the siblings, by the parents. Who cares?
So, Deanna, as we finish up our conversation here, I want you to reflect back and where you're at now with your media move in the sport. What do you want your legacy to be at the end of the day? You had a great career. You started early, but now you're doing media. What do you want your legacy to be?
Well, first of all, I want people to know that I'm not complaining about what happened, about the injuries, and that I had to end my MMA career so early. So I want when people look at me, take me as an example of, no matter what happened in life, you can pass that and you can move on and find something else to do. And I think I'm the perfect example for that, because I come from a country, I don't, from a small country. I didn't speak English since 5 years ago. I fought at the highest level in the world. When I was a kid, I never even dreamed to get to UFC. Being there for 6 years means a lot for me. And then becoming, like, going on a media side and working on a media side and talking with the fighters and doing all this in a language that I'm not a native English speaker. So doing it in a language that was not my first language, it really, I think it's a good example for the new generations, especially because we are going to have a lot of fighters that are going to, at some point in their careers, and be like, what I'm going to do with my life. You can do whatever the hell you want with your life after that. And I'm not upset at all. I when I talk with my family and I told them that, I got injured, I cannot fight anymore, everybody's like, you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I'm not. I know this is just a chapter that it's done, and I feel
It's
like
a season.
just
Yeah.
now I become an adult.
Wow.
Just now I become an adult, all this time I just follow my dream. And was cool. I can complain. It was cool. I got injured so many times. My face was busted. I got some cool wins. um I saw myself fighting at the highest level and fighting the best in the world. I got people's respect for that. And I'm cool with that. And now it's just the next chapter. And now I'm so happy to see myself. I'm so proud of myself for doing all this media work, because I'm doing it in a language that was not my first language. I just learned it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely killing it, and I'm so happy that you're happy with where you're at right now. Because there's a lot of fighters that would dwell on what's happened to them in the past and kind of let that hold them back. But you're not focusing on that. You're focusing on moving forward and still staying in the sport. And I totally get that. And I can't wait to see what the future is in store for you, Diana. Really, really excited for you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Diana. One more time, where can the people follow you on social media?
Just search Diana Belbita everywhere, or on any platform except OnlyFans. I don't have an OnlyFans. Don't ask for OnlyFans anymore. About OnlyFans
Don't
anymore.
search for it because you ain't gonna find it.
Yeah, exactly. No chance. So Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, just search Diana Belbita and you're gonna find it there.
Let's go. And make sure you guys follow her here on the Millions app as well. Make sure you show me some support as well at Jose G Official on all the social media platforms, and subscribe to the channel over on YouTube, Gonzalez Media TV. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, Diana. I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.